Hello, it's 3 in the morning on the 14th of November of October 2021. It's like Thursday morning, I think. Um, I didn't really work for the last couple hours. I watched the last episode of Last Dance. I think I needed to cool my brain down. For the last few days, couple days, I've been reading this book, Urbanization of Ancient Rome. And it's giving me all the information that I wanted to create ancient Rome on Google Earth. And because I can write all the different, it's giving me all the different, like the numbers of cities and towns and villages and the exact size of them. Like you have category villages from 1,000 square meters. No. 10,000 square meters, which is a hectare, up to 4 hectares. And then anything beyond that, until 25 is a town. But then you have a smaller town, which is 1 to 4 hectares. Anyway, and then it said how far, like what altitude they were, how far away from each other they are. I just did like a sample area. I don't know how big it was, but 16,000 hectares or something. With like 100 or different villages they found. It's interesting how they found all that, but so I could use that as like a map for the rest of Latinia, and they said that it wasn't more than 5 kilometers between village to village. So yeah, that sounds really interesting. Like lots of tiny little villages close to each other. And some are really small, like in the Bronze Age, they were only about this big as a track, like a racetrack, 400 meters around, which is convenient because I can just trace all the racetracks and call them towns. Yeah, so I was going through the book all day today and just like trying to remember all the data and doing screen captures of the other parts that were interesting, and also copying parts of the book and attaching them to different Google Earth stuff, like the locations I was talking about. So I think I'm only on like page 180 or something, 185 out of 431, so I don't even know what's next. But it's all very interesting. Giving me like a new view of what it looked like in the past with give you new insights. I want to start out with like in the deep past when it's all forest, and then figure out a way to like add images on top of it to illustrate farms and stuff to the exact ratio that they wrote. Like I'd like to take full advantage of the book and all the detail that they had, from that to also placing the exact number of towns at the exact size at the exact location. And I mean, that could take a while. But it really, I think, do the best job ever of showing what history looked like. It'd be like time traveling in the past. And then I can draw all the different trails, attach them to each other. That's the other thing that I was doing today, was tracing, creating roads connecting all of the cities to each other in Latinium, but on like modern roads. Like if you want to be a bicycle tourist, in Rome, you could ride your bike on the routes basically over the same course as all of the ancient roads, and also the little roads, because there's just so many towns everywhere. And then another thing that I want to do, I mean, that'll take forever, but one thing that I'd really like to do is Google Earth every single stage of humankind. The volcano just south of Rome, Vesuvius erupted in 70 AD. But then one erupted around in Latium in like 1500 BC. But 600,000 years ago, the big one erupted. The ones right next to Rome, in the hills where the big lake is, the Alban Hills. It was 250 years after humans entered into Italy. So I'd like to Google Earth humanity from the beginning of humanity. But I don't know if I'll do that anytime soon. I'll probably just try to finish doing Rome first, but and I'll finish the stuff that I started. But it's a little bit like overwhelming because I didn't expect to like buy a book that has this much information. Another interesting thing is like the Ager Romanus. I didn't really understand it totally before, but it's kind of different way of looking at borders than you wouldn't think from today. Like the borders didn't touch. When Rome founded, they just decided where to put their borders. It was just 5.5 miles out from the center. So like a 11-mile radius. And that was their kingdom. And they decided that at the very beginning. And they built like little sanctuaries around the edge to like make a perimeter around their kingdom. So it's kind of like, instead of crossing borders, you just go into no man's land and then you cross the border. So, and they were illustrating how the towns look though. Like there's the city, like Rome, and then you have farms around it. And I want to illustrate all this with Google Earth, like to as much detail as I can. Even if it takes a year, it's going to be freaking fascinating. And then after the farm, that's where you have small villages. And then right in between the towns that are independent of each other, that's where you have the bigger villages. And then you have the small village, and then you have farm in between the small village and the big village. And then you have small village and then the farm and then the next city. So, and they like figured that out like with the archaeology. So I want to illustrate that with Google Earth. If it's too much time to do it with like all of Latinia, I would just do it in the Kingdom of Rome, but I like to do it in all of Latinia because that's where all the history is in Livy. And it's like the group of people, but they're the common language. But yeah, so I got a call if somebody wanted to rent the room like next Thursday on the 22nd, so hopefully they'll come in. But I've got peace till then. My mom came in today and was mad at me. I think she was gonna help me like clean, but she was mad at me. I didn't do any cleaning for myself. She actually ordered new of these for me. I didn't want them, but she ordered them anyway, so thought that the house would look better. And then brought a lamp over. So, but I need to clean my house tomorrow. I haven't done that. But yeah, I was just kind of like hooked on this job and reading this book, but it's like really. It's kind of taxing, even though it's easy work. It's taxing because it's just so much information. I'm just here like glued to it. And then I was like, So I had dinner. I had like a couple of yam. I had like a yam, a sweet potato that I chopped up, and it's big. So I had to cook it in 2 helpings with my air fryer to make yam French fries, yam fries, and then I had some like chili that the other roommate left. So yeah, I need to like. This is super interesting. I need to like not rush it, just like be happy that I have all this cool new information. And then of course I'd want to duplicate it here on Boulder because that was the idea, make Boulder rum. So I've got like my work cut out for me, that's for sure. I'm gonna hang out with my mom tomorrow. Got cousins visiting, so my brother will be here, so that'll be some time off. But yeah, I need to convince myself that I'm on a good schedule. Even if I start, doing a lot, I can't pay attention to what my mom says too much. Because it's kind of like a delicate mind game to convince yourself that it's worth working hard on something for that long. But I think it's interesting. I think it's worth it. I want to do it to the exact specifications. It's kind of like reading a manual and then building something, reading a manual on how to build a big thing like a car or something. So then you have to go out in there and build it. And so, yeah, it needs to be done. So, so I kind of, at the end, I feel honored that I'm get to be the one to do it because you want to do it right. And I'm curious. I haven't had the time to look yet, but I want to see if because I've already written in the sizes of all the villages, just looking at them and guessing how big they all are, just like looking at them, seeing if I can see the walls. And I should have done it tonight, but I'm super looking forward to seeing how close I am to what the actual size is, because now the book actually prescribed it. So if I'm super accurate, I'll be pleased with myself. But yeah, then I'll plug it all in to the exact and make it look exact, like even to the earth, different images to show farms and earth, and it's going to be freaking fascinating. It's an area about the size of Boulder County, so it's not too big. It's like a good size. Boulder County is big, but it's not so big that you can't like see everything. You can see it like eagle eye, to detail down to like a soccer field. So it's worth it to draw it all. I'm not going to draw it to the same exact like detail as Boulder County that I did last summer. I drew all the different towns with the polygon, all the different roads and trails with the polygon tool. I still can't believe I did that. But I'm not going to do the polygon tool on Rome. I'm just going to do it with the line. But maybe I'll at the end, if I get really into it, I could do some of the bigger ones with the polygon tool. But yeah. So let's see, how long is that going to take? Well, to get to the book could take another 3 or 4 days, and then I have to go in there. And another thing that I was doing was all the different charts and all the things that it was saying, like how big everything is, like all the different graphs they use, all the different like metrics they use to guess how big everything was, from house to village, villa, farm, small village, medium-sized village, big village, small town, big town, all the different sizes of the kingdoms. I just took that number and I used the circle tool and I built something that exact size for all of it, and then I copy the text of what it said and what page it was a lot of the time, and just put it on as the name of the Google Earth like pin, so that then I can go in and then put circles, use my circle images on top of it to make them the same size, and then I can drag them around if I want to create like little villages around of the exact size, and help size things and test sizes of things. So that yeah, that was time consuming, but yeah, it's going to be fascinating to look at, and then it's going to motivate me to try to build just they're back in time and Google Earth all of humanity from the beginning. So anyways, I don't think I'm going to get back to work tonight. I normally would. I probably would just go right back in there and just read and try to go back to work because I'm a workaholic. But I think I need to hang out with my mom, so I'm going to like get to sleep now, just lie down. And so I bought weed 3 times, so I guess I had a relapse in a weed, which sucks because like I have a really bad asthma attack right now. It gives me really bad asthma. And I think the reason I did it was because the first time I did it was like, oh, let's try. It was like a little over 2 months since I quit. First time I thought I was like, oh yeah, let's just try. See what it's like. And then I was like, oh wow, I thought things in a different way, and I got excited. And then the second one, it was like, oh, roommate's out. Do it because the roommate's out. You're living here alone. But then I did it again tonight, and I was like, oh fuck. And that was because I was just like overwhelmed by the work that I'm doing. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing now? So yeah, I needed to stop that though, because it's not worth it. It screws up my lungs. So yeah, that's basically what the task is now. Try to take advantage of being in here all alone to get the energy up to where I can expect myself to just... It could take me the rest of the year, probably. Probably will working on just Google Earthing Rome itself without even looking at the timeline or living or anything for the rest of the year. Yeah, so yeah, like a year from now, I say this every year, like a year from now or the end of 2022, beginning of 2023, hopefully I'll still be working, trying to finish up loose ends. I'll basically bear where I am now, but yeah, hopefully I will have done some interesting stuff, like finished Google Earthing Rome. And but this thing that I'm doing now, it's fascinating. Learn lots of things and that I didn't know. And looking forward to punching it in on Google Earth, because that's where you can really explain it and get new insights and display it to other people. So yeah, maybe I'll hang out, but if I work most of the day tomorrow, yeah, I don't know, I'll just, same thing, just working on the book. Probably learn some new interesting things that I'll talk about tomorrow. All right, talk to you tomorrow.